Hey guys, we're going to be unboxing a big Memoria Press order, which is part of my 11th and 12th grade curriculum order. There might also be some other stuff in here. I don't exactly remember what I ordered. What I can tell you is that everything in here is from the Memoria Press site, not the charter site. My charter order is going to be later. This is the big order that I used that free shipping code for. If you are unfamiliar, Memoria Press does a free shipping code every February. This year they're extending it through May. I'm just pulling out my packing list. Okay, so we've got some packing paper. All right. And I will just show you what I got, and then we can talk a little bit about it after. Okay, so we try to do 2 Shakespeare plays a year, at least, sometimes 3. So one that I wanted to make sure my student didn't miss is Macbeth. It's a great one. So this is the student book. So this is where the student has their questions and where their daily work comes from. There are different formats of these. I couldn't tell you why they're different, but several of the high school ones are the smaller size, and the student writes in a notebook. Maybe that's why, because you're writing more in high school. So this is the student book for Macbeth. Then we have the British Tradition 3. This is obviously a series. The student has done the British Tradition 1 and 2, and they are by the year. That's the difference between the 3 British traditions. And all of this is on the website if you want to take a closer look. And then the big novel study I'm very excited about is Anna Karenina. It is a Russian author, Tolstoy, obviously. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this, aside from having my student just read it, is in the Waldorf tradition, seniors in high school have a main lesson block on Russian novelists, and that is due to their treatment of the soul and the soul development and just the unfolding of everyday life. In Waldorf, they believe that the Russians really do a good job of capturing this. So I do plan to build that out somewhat further. I think I have like some Chekhov and other stuff planned. But anyway, this is the main Russian novel we'll be doing. And then we have Hamlet, which is our second Shakespeare play for 11th/12th grade. And then this is the student book? Oh, this is the textbook. So this is the student guide, and this is the student book for the British tradition. I'm showing you that as I'm also showing myself. Then we have the Divine Comedy. So this is, I believe, the 11th grade literature, which I only discovered because of a back and forth discussion with the sales department about the customizable lesson plans. So if you do the customizable lesson plans, it auto-populates each of the different subject areas, and it turns out the 2 that I was getting were literature, so that didn't work. So I ended up just getting the independent lesson plans, which I was planning to show you, but I haven't printed them out. Okay, so then we have the Macbeth teacher guide, and if you're not familiar with Memoria Press, this is what it looks like. There are samples of everything on their website. I was just kind of quickly showing you that. Oh yeah, okay, so this is for my 8th grader, Famous Men of Modern Times. So we're currently doing Famous Men of the Middle Ages, and I really like the format of the books. They have the larger type, and they have pictures. And I don't know which grade this is supposed to be for, but we're doing, this year he's doing world history, next year he's doing American history, and so this is kind of a complement to that. Even though it's biography, it's also historical. So this is the textbook of that, modern history, as you could see. And then this is the student guide. And so this is what I really like about the student guides for Memoria Press, is I feel that it's got built-in accountability, built-in reading comprehension, built-in vocabulary, and you really get a lot of bang for your buck. And then this is the teacher guide, which I always get teacher guides with Memoria Press because they're so in-depth, not just the teacher guides, but the the content and the curriculum is so in depth, and I have so many students that it just really helps me to grade or answer questions or, have accountability or have thorough samples, things like that. So if you're doing Memoria Press, I definitely recommend getting the teacher guides. You can find these in the Memoria Press Facebook group. People will be selling them if they no longer need them, or you can find them on eBay. I tend to buy them new just because I have so many students, and so I look at it like an investment for my 6 kids. And this is the teacher guide for British tradition. It's pretty substantial. So this is another feature of Memoria Press that I love. It has Socratic discussion questions. If you're not familiar with me or my channel, my husband and I are both attorneys. And perhaps unsurprisingly, I tend to do a lot of Socratic questions with my kids in the way that I teach them, like, why do you think that's the case? Or what do you think the author thought about this? Stuff like that. And that comes from Socrates, if you're not familiar with Socratic dialogue. Next, Henry V. This is our 3rd Shakespeare play for the year. I think that's it. You and I will both discover as we unbox this if there's any further ones, but I think that's it. And I think that the Charlotte Mason curriculum providers are studying this one this year or next year. And we did get, if you saw some of my other videos, I think I got or I might not have unboxed it, the graphic novel. So that's kind of interesting. I bought that for my 7th grader, but I don't know if he'll actually do it till next year. So that could be cool if they're both doing that at the same time. And then another novel we're doing, which I think is a 12th grade novel. You'll have to check the website. Don't trust me because I really don't remember, but I wanted to make sure she got some Dickens in before she graduates. So this is the teacher guide. Again, it's the same format as everything else. You have the comprehension questions, stuff like that. It's the teacher guide. Then we have the teacher guide for Hamlet. One thing I wanted to say, and I might bring this up in the Memoria Press group, I do have a forum account, the Memoria Press forum, but I'm never on it because I can't remember my login and it's like a whole separate thing. But one thing I would really like to know is which other Shakespeare plays they have in development, because I remember we did a fellow in my AP English literature class my senior year, and I would really like my students to be able to do that. I know they recently, this is not related to Shakespeare, but they recently came out with the Great Gatsby novel study. So it seems to me, and also just from watching Memoria Press videos, they're constantly creating new curriculum for students at all different levels. There's all sorts of changes planned I've read about. So that's kind of a question. When is Othello coming out? Anyway, because I also read Hamlet, so that was why that came up. And then we have the Divine Comedy Student Guide for Dante. Really looking forward to this. I'm not sure if I've discussed before. I read Dante several years ago. I think it was part of a book club I was in. I'm not sure. And I got a children's version of Dante for my daughter, and she was 10 at that time, so this was 6 years ago. Because she saw that I was reading it, and that's a principle of another homeschool approach, which is like leading by example. I was reading it, she's like, oh, I want to read that. So I got her the children's version. She reads it, and she goes, Mom, all of the people are dead. And I said, yeah, well, it's set in hell. What did you expect? So she didn't really like that at that time, but, she's older now, and she's into all sorts of more mature topics. So anyway, this is the teacher guide for that. And I'm curious, I don't think they have a charter version of these. That's why I ordered them through the website. So I'm curious to see if that's in the pipeline. Because obviously Dante might tend to have more Christian content than other selections. And this is the Anna Karenina. And so one of the things that I like to do, if you don't have built-in, like these, there's built-in comprehension questions in these guides, but if you don't have those in terms of writing and you need one, a lot of these discussion questions could easily be turned into essay topics. So let's see. So like here's an example of one. This is a Socratic discussion question. You could easily build an essay out of this one. And what I really like about studying Tolstoy, we did a, Life of Ivan Ilyich, I think, in her freshman year through the CMEC. I really like how Tolstoy really captures a lot of different layers of Russian society and culture in that, you know, moment in time. And some of those things are dated. For example, you no longer have the traditional aristocratic class. But a lot of these issues are not, what's the word? Outdated. They're like evergreen concepts. And so that, again, is one of the reasons why in Waldorf they study these different Russian novelists in senior years, because you have more life experience and ability to think through these things. So I'm really excited that she's doing another Tolstoy book, I guess is the point. Okay, so here's the Henry V student guide. And one of the things I want to share with you, if I can, is there's a lot of instruction in these older student guides. So this is written to the student, but it gives you a lot of like, here's how to mark a book. And this is on page 19 of the student guide. So even though if you have students working independently, which I definitely do, and my student will definitely be doing this independently, the Memoria Press curriculum is so rich and so detailed and so in-depth that I feel like they're really helping scaffold the experience for your student. And so the way that we use them in our family is I give them to my older students, like starting in upper middle school, high school, and I rely on them to read these things and do these assignments based on the lesson plans, which, by the way, make sure you get the lesson plans. Do not try to do this without them. It will be a disaster. Don't ask how I know. You have them do these assignments, and then with their tools and with the teacher guides, you can really create this very robust academic educational experience for your students. So I just wanted to point that out as a shout out to the Memoria Press curriculum developers. I really appreciate that as a home educator, you know, as someone who has gone through college, has gone through law school. I was a political science major, so you know, hearing their discussions about Machiavelli, and that's a tangent, but I really appreciate it, guys. So anyway, that was kind of random. This is the student book for Tale of Two Cities. Again, you have this, this is in the Henry V student guide as well. So if you're not doing Henry V, but you're doing A Tale of Two Cities, you're going to get that same level of instruction, or have it reinforced. And then we have Tale of Two Cities, and we have the Hamlet book. And so one of the things I have talked about before is getting books from the library, buying books from thrift books, and buying books from Amazon for cost savings. I don't do that with Memoria Press novel or Shakespeare studies, because I don't try to get a less expensive version of these books, although you could probably get a used copy of these exact books, because the version really matters. And we found that out with Beowulf, which was used through two of the things we were doing. One was Memoria Press, one was another. We didn't have the right version, and it referred to lines, and the book that we had didn't have numbered lines, and it just created an additional headache. So this is the one area where I don't look for less expensive books. Although you certainly could. It's just another layer of time and effort and all those things. So anyway, we have the copy of Macbeth. And then we have the Henry V, and I think this one is annotated, yeah. So here you could see, obviously there's a value to having this version, and there's all sorts of different Shakespeare supplements and cliff notes and things you could get if your student needs that. And then the Divine Comedy. And so this is a honkin' book, and I actually have the same copy, I think. I'm just going to look real quick at the Divine Comedy teacher guide, what they read through, which I guess would be in the lesson plans. I'm just kind of curious if they do all three books or not. It is through for the whole year, so let me see. Paradiso. Okay, so they do Purgatorio and Inferno. I'm just flipping through this. Paradiso. And there's quizzes and finals for each section. Okay, so they do Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. Cool. So they do all 3 books. So that is why this is the whole 11th grade literature, because it's really a lot. So we will be spreading this throughout the year, as well as all of the other things I've showed you. And then our last book is Anna Karenina, and it's this cool classics version. So yeah, that's what we have planned for our, I guess they call it super senior year. Thanks for watching, and feel free to let me know if you have any questions in the comment box. I will be sharing our other plans for senior year at some point. A lot of them involve community college, so I won't have books and those good things to show you. But I will have more information about that, what we're doing, and I will also have the curriculum that we are doing for my rising 10th grader who will be back in our homeschool full-time, as well as my rising 8th grader, rising 5th grader, rising 2nd grader, and that's it.